it's always a blast with Fish on her shows.
It was nice.
Yeah.
So what's the feeling like when you get to do shows back at home? Are you more comfortable?
I like it. Yeah, it's like to me, it's almost like you're playing Pokemon and you go back to Pallet Town and you're just playing with level 3 fishies and shit, you know?
Yeah.
Or not fishies, Pidgeys, and Ratatatas. But it's also like, to me, it's like super fun where I'm just like, it's a good crowd. They're awesome. It's good. Like Edmonton has a very high art scene, so a lot of people think it's just like Rig Pig City and stuff, and it is a blue collar town, but it's very high on the arts. So it's like you have the people that you know, blue collar working tradespeople, but then they also enjoy coming out and seeing like comedy.
Yeah.
And I think Edmonton has one of the best comedy scenes in Canada.
Sheesh, okay.
Yeah.
You think Edmonton it's like home court advantage. You think Edmonton treats you different because you're from here, or do you think or if it's not funny, they'll do you like any other place, then they wouldn't laugh at it?
They do, like some rooms I can get away with things where I know they're not funny, but they're just happy to see me.
Yeah.
So it's like those kind of things. But I would say like generally, yeah, they're honest. They're honest crowds where if something's not funny, they won't laugh or they'll let you know.
Yeah.
Thing like that. But I just like it where it's like, I don't know, like sometimes where I get like kind of tripped up or emotional in a sense where I'm like, holy fuck, like I remember 15 years ago where I was just like a kid, you know, from Edmonton being like, oh, what can I do? Like, oh, let's go out and do like comedy and stuff. And then it like puts me back in a nostalgic state where I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go grind, or let's go with these rooms and stuff that we always did. But then there's other times where I'm like, okay, like I got fucking, why did I come out tonight? I didn't need to come out tonight, you know? Like,
yeah.
I could have just enjoyed time with my family and friends, or like caught up with people I haven't seen in a while. But majority of it, it's like I truly do, like, even no matter like what level of success that I'll attain in the future, I think I'll always come back and do like a spot at the Moon or a Tuesday night at the Strip, or like go out and do like a Wednesday at Mackie, or hop over to Underdog and stuff like that. So like, but I think that's just who I am as like a person, a comedian. Yeah.
How'd you end up on? I always butcher the comedy curated.
Comedy curated.
Curated. I always fuck up the name, but
no, I just did like my Kill Tony, and then they reached out and said, hey, can we chop up a couple of videos for you? And I said, yeah, man, for sure.
Jeez.
So yeah, and then those are the ones that kind of went crazy, and then right now like Splice Comedy and stuff's got it going, some clips going and stuff like that. But yeah, just generally the internet kind of like sees it, and then they have their comedy pages, and then they just say, yo, you're funny, can we put your video up on our page?
Oh, they ask you before they do. I'm used to hearing like they just take it and they
like
watermarked it.
But Comedy Curated reached out to me, and then other ones fucking they'll just take it and not even credit you, and then your buddies send it to you, and you're like, oh fuck, and then you gotta like
go through the process.
Well, yeah, and be like, oh, credit would have been nice, thanks, man. And then they're like, oh, sorry.
And by the time they give you the credit, the video's been out already for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and
and then you're like, oh, sweet. So the initial like bump of followers I don't get, or people you can go through and say, who is this guy? Like all this stuff, right? But like generally, it's like the good pages will reach out to you and say, hey, can we put this on?
For sure.
Like I had a good like. A bunch of pages steal my fart video.
And they didn't credit you?
Yeah, no one credit, nothing.
Of course
and I'm
not.
like, oh, fuck, man. Yeah, here's my handle, you pieces of shit. You know, and I'm on like 13 different fart pages that have like 400,000
There's dedicated
followers.
fart pages?
Oh, yeah, man.
What
They
the
all
fuck?
came out of the woodwork pushing gas, all this stuff, dude.
See, now, from what I can see and what I can hear, you're always on the go. You got something going on. You're always on the move.
Yeah.
How's your mental? You know what I'm saying? Because you're flying, you're trying to interact with the crowd. You might have to deal with a heckler, parents on this side, your lady on the other, friends.
Yeah. It's like generally it's like good. Like don't get me wrong. Like some days I feel like dampened by what's going on just in my personal lives, or like the stress of kind of traveling, or being like, oh fuck, I haven't had my bed in 3 weeks, kind of things like that. But I don't know. I just generally like. I'm usually kind of like a guy that hovers around a 7.5, like naturally. Like I'm a pretty like normal, happy-go-lucky guy. But then it's also like I kind of like whenever things are down, or I look at problems. Like obviously you're always gonna have some kind of issue that's gonna bother you. But then you look at it and say, okay, well, you just you look at all the blessings you've kind of have and like how grateful you can be for these things and realize like, oh, my problems aren't as severe. Like I have food, I have a shelter over my head, I have loved ones I can call. Yeah, sure, okay, maybe my girlfriend's bothered me, but what did I do to bother her to cause her to get pissed off? So I always kind of like look at these things. Or if I'm having like, a bad day, I'll have like my group of like friends, or I'll call my mom, or I'll like read a book or journal, or I'll go for a long walk.
See, I think about those type of things where what it sounds like, it seems like you're the optimistic type.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like that could be a good thing and that could be a downfall too, because on days you don't feel like being optimistic, that's when everybody, what's wrong, Danny, what's wrong, what's this, what's that, and then you just want some alone time. But people are so used to you talking that the one day you decide not to, you're annoyed, you're basically flustered. Everybody's just on your ass about everything.
Yeah, those days it's like, I don't know, like, but I always like, I'm fortunate enough. When I came up in my theater, we had this sign that was above the door when you walked in, and it said like, no matter what you have going on, leave your shit at the door. So I've always had that thing where it's like, okay, well, I have a performance to do right now. Nobody gives a fuck about the other things. And what matters the most right now in this time is those people in those seats. Nobody cares what's going on right now. Like, obviously, like, some things could affect my energy level and my output, but it's like, okay, well, for this allotted time that I have to go and do what I have to do, just shut up, put your smile on, go do your song and dance, and then deal with it after.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, at the end of the day, people came here for a release or an escape of their fucking shit. I don't need to put my stuff onto their plate too, right? Like, so there's that. But there are some days where I'm just like, yeah, man, like, I'm not really, like, leave me alone kind of things. But then on those days, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just suck it all up until I have a day where I can just play Xbox for 18 hours or like not give a fuck or do anything. But then it's like that kind of shit, I feel like.
You see, I always think about that type of shit. Like, just imagine you're having a rough day, but you got to be in New York in like 8 hours.
Yeah.
Now you're flying, and then as soon as you land, you get picked up. So you don't even have time to be yourself.
Oh, yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just learning how to navigate through all of that.
Yeah, that and like kind of like finding your fortress of solitude almost in a sense where it's like, even if it's not like a physical place, you can kind of mentally put yourself in there and then be like, okay, let's align ourselves a little bit better here and let's kind of like do that. But then you also got to count it. It's like, okay, well, what is your issues? Oh, I have 4 hours of sleep because I have to go to New York and go on this plane. It's not like I'm fucking getting my hand held out while a guy has a machete asking if I want a long sleeve or a short sleeve. Like, what is my what's my issue here? Like, there's fucking way worse problems to have, kind of things like that. So, yeah, I don't know. I just kind of like, I'm grateful and like, I could be in a lot worse position. I could not be hopping on this plane, or I could not be doing this show. I could be going into a work at a car dealership. I could be going back on my 21st day straight on a 28-day hitch.
Sheesh.
Like, so there's a lot of other things. But that being said, it's like, yeah, some days I'm affected and my energy levels will be lower.
Yeah.
But if I hit the stage or I got to do it, it's like, okay, well, we bring them back up here. And that's easier said than done. Like, some days I am off, but I know it, but some people don't.
Yeah.
So...
See, I mean, it looks like you're handling it well, at least, because no long-lasting effects or anything of that nature, which is good.
Well, and it's like, I don't know, I kind of do these things to kind of like keep my thing. Like, I used to drink. I don't drink anymore. That's helped. Like, well, if I'm feeling super stressed out, it's like, whatever, I'll eat an edible and melt onto a couch, or I'll like watch TV, or I'll do something, or like read or write, or I've started journaling a lot more, which has helped too. So there's like, I don't know, I think there's things